Welcome to Seeds of Light, everyone. This is Astrology Hub show dedicated to illuminating the path of parenting using the power of astrology. I'm your host, Anna Zaharia, and I'm here with evolutionary astrologer, herbalist, holistic healer, and columnist for the Yoga Journal, Cameron Allen. Thank you so much for being here, Cameron.
Hey, Anna, thanks for having me here again. Excited.
I'm so grateful to have you as a regular contributor to our show now.
I'm thankful. I love this. And I just love the Astrology Hub community. It's so nice. It's so nice.
Oh, thanks, Cameron. I know we love having you. And actually, our inner circle members are going to get to be studying with you really soon this summer for the Gemini lunation. So that's it's really exciting to have you back there as well. Last time we covered supporting your Gemini child now and always. And this week we're back in the same series talking about supporting your Libra child. So Cameron, this is my favorite question every time. What is the majestic expression of this sign in its purest form as it relates to our children?
Yeah, so Libra, the most majestic quality of Libra to me is judgment, but not like judgment in like a way that a lot of people judge. It's just like the capacity to make a decision that is fair, right? That is harmonious. That is the most majestic quality of it. It's like this. It's like knowing the aesthetic of the choice to make is the kind of feeling like you walk into a room and then you're like, oh yeah, somebody put this together nice. Like this is nice. The aesthetic of it is just like, I know. But like, so a child, or the most majestic version of that is someone in their decision making. And like, I could just totally see like a child being cultivated to like, they're in a room and there's just a bunch of people and they like state why they're making a decision. Everybody just being like, yeah, like that's super fair. Like that's true. It's like there's their capacity to make a wise and harmonious choice. That's the highest expression that I feel into when I think of Libra.
Wonderful. So as a parent, how can you encourage that expression of Libra for your child?
Yeah, so the biggest thing that I feel there, even just being like ruled by Venus, I think of things that are like artful. So just like looking at the Fibonacci sequence, or or like seeing things symmetrically, like how do you like, because this brings like a felt sense of like fairness and harmony, and like how does that feel? Does that feel that good? Like when I'm making this choice, when I'm talking to this person, does that feel like a flower blossoming? Like, just like that felt sense, just instilling that. I think that's a big way to go about it. So, coloring, drawing, sacred geometry, and stuff like that, because that is the harmony of nature. And when we tap into that, then we tap into so many things that we don't even necessarily identify that we're doing in a linear process, but indeed we are.
I am reminded once again, like every time, of the importance of having our children out in nature, observing. Like as you're talking about the Fibonacci sequence and harmony and I just feel like these things are so naturally taught to us when we're immersed in nature, and especially with children being so open. Being able to observe the beauty in flowers and observe the natural flow in nature, I feel can help instill that natural sense of order, right? That's part of what we're talking about when we talk about judgment and fairness. It's natural order.
Indeed. Yeah.
So, what's happening for Libra right now in the sky?
Yeah, so last time we were talking about Gemini. Yeah, so with Libra right now, there's a lot of trines going on. So there's a trine from Mars over there in Gemini, which brings like like a lot of times when people think of trines, they think of like ease and flow and like this is easy. And it's like, yeah, it's easy and Mars is there, right? So it's like it's easy to maybe like assert our energy in a certain type of way. It might feel more harmonious in like somebody might have ease doing it, but it might not always express in like the easiest way, right? It's like they're expressing it easily, but it might be bumping up against stuff. And then also we have trines, and these are longer term. The next two I'm speaking of, the trines in Aquarius, Saturn there and Jupiter there. So those are longer term things that I would invite people to like really like tune into there with the Libra child, because those things are taking their time. Also, if you have a child that has Libra placements that's closer to the end of Libra, we do also have a square to Pluto in Capricorn, and that's something that I would just invite you just to sit with, because that'll be there for a while. So just sit with that and feel like into it and think of like, well, what things are creating challenges potentially in my child's life that are creating tension, right? Or how are they feeling empowered or potentially disempowered? And how are those things existing on a spectrum? Because sometimes we do certain things and they're empowering, and then we do them in a different environment and they're disempowering, right? Like at home, I do this, but when I'm online trying to learn at school, the same thing that I was trying to do when I was at home becomes disempowering when it was empowering before. So those are just some things to feel into and think about.
Thank you. Can you remind me, because I was copiously taking notes, what specifically in the sky is happening to make us tune into feeling empowered or disempowered as a Libra?
Got you. So and specifically if they have things at the end of Libra, because Pluto is at 26, 27 degrees of Capricorn. So that's the Pluto piece, the Pluto and Capricorn piece, because yeah, a lot of times children want to be less restricted. And sometimes with Capricorn and Pluto energy put together, it could be like restrictions that are making one feel potentially limited, which might feel disempowering. Whereas like if they're their own authority, right, in writing their own story, then they feel empowered. So, and that's going to interact with Libra specifically at the end, closer to the end.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yes, the famous power struggles between parent and child. This might be something that's highlighted. So really great to have this in mind and know that it's part of the growth process right now.
Indeed.
So, what are some key challenges and practical solutions for the Libra child in general?
Yeah. So one huge thing that I see is um, assertion. Asserting the self in a way that is, in a sense, autonomous. Because with a Libra child, oftentimes they desire for like we were talking about aesthetic earlier, right? So they want the environment to just be at peace and feel okay. Well, as a child, you're still developing your sense of self. So as a child, when you're developing your sense of self, are you going to check in with how you feel and like want that to be harmonious? Or would you look out into the environment and just be like, oh, well, I'm not, like, they don't even necessarily consciously think this, but like, I'm not going to say anything or I'm not going to express myself so that everything is okay around me. And that could be something that like creates people pleasing in a form that is excessive as they grow up. So that's something that I feel like is really, really something to tune into, which, and with all the air signs, but this one again, asking with children, in general, communication overall, but, asking questions, or when the Libra child does express themselves and ask like, well, what do you think we should do? Or, it's like answer the question and then still bring it back to them. You know, the mirroring effect, you know, it's, I feel like it's really, really important. You know, and I said that with Gemini in a certain type of way, but in this, it is, you know, it's the same, but it has a different quality to it. It's, I also feel like with a Libra child, helping them see what they want by going back and forth. Like, they might ask you, well, what do you want to do? It's like, I want to do this. Does that sound good to you? You know, making sure that they still are like asserting their reflections to you, and so that they can feel into that themselves as well. And even not necessarily pointing it out, but just being mindful of how they are or aren't expressing themselves and what they really want. I think that's really, really important, which I think something about the Libra child makes it really, really, it is a heightened emphasis on the other. So when helping them, it's not necessarily on the parent, but the parent, it's like it's good to like have a more of attunement, you know. So mirror reflections, it might take a longer time because it's something that has to be revealed through the dynamic back and forth. So yeah, those are some things that I think are really, really important with the Libra child.
Great. And specifically with Libra and Venus's special love for beauty and harmony,
Mhm.
what are some other things that we can be doing as parents? Like, do you feel that there is a particular emphasis that we should be putting on like beauty in the home or in their rooms, or helping them develop their aesthetic?
Yeah, I think that's important for sure. And that, even going back to the sacred geometry, like I think that will like cultivate that in them as well. But like asking the child, you know, like, is this like, what do you think? Like asking them questions again, of course, but it's like, what do they think is beautiful, and helping them actually like being proactive and cultivating their idea around what is beauty, so that when they go out in the world, it won't be like, this is, you know, the standard, this is what's beautiful. You know, it's like allowing them to work on that themselves. You know, what is artful, what is beauty, even, you know, literally just defining beauty, so that they can have that at a very young age, and cultivate that skill, or allowing them more autonomy and like creating the space or the atmosphere in their room or in different spaces. You know, I think that could be really, really important for them. So yeah, cultivating beauty in those ways. Yeah, I think that is really, really important. Something that you said something about Venus. Oh, just to bring up something else too. Since it's ruled by Venus, you know, sometimes children can go to extreme with sweets. So just, you know, since the heightened Libra quality, being that it's tied to Venus, you know, Venus likes sweet stuff, and it likes being like very relaxed and things as such. So just being mindful that they don't go too far with the sweets, because yeah, it can happen, definitely.
Wonderful. Okay. So in general, for anybody that wants to look at the chart and get some additional insights, we would want to be looking at maybe where Libra is in the chart, what house it's in.
Mm-hmm.
And would we look at where Venus is and what sign she's in order to get more insights?
Yeah, you can do that for sure. You know, and honestly, to keep it super simple, especially when it comes to the sweet stuff, you can look towards if Libra is the rising sign, if it's the sixth house, if it's the eighth house, in the second house specifically. You know, because the second house, oftentimes I feel like it's like what we're ingesting. The sixth house can bring potential troubles and struggles with our health over time, right? As daily routines. So just being mindful, if they have Libra in the sixth house, like what is their daily routine? Are they like going to one extreme to the next and ingesting a lot of sweets? And in the eighth house as well, having to do with, I feel like sometimes with the eighth house, is to keep it super simple. I'm like, this is the thing that we do that makes us get constipated over time, you know? Like, so just being mindful if Libra is in those places, just to tune into that, just keep it super simple, tune into it, and then observe, not like pick at it or poke at it. Just observe that and then feel into it. And then through that, it doesn't have to be figured out. It will be revealed.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So I'm going to attempt to summarize. The most majestic expression of Libra is judgment in its most harmonious, most fair, most discerning way, right? Libra has a very unique capacity for tuning into harmony and fairness and how a space feels, which is what brings in its ability to really judge fairly. And some of the ways that we can help our children cultivate this quality of really fair judgment is by helping them attune to harmony, and specifically harmony in nature, having them draw, having them spend time with the Fibonacci sequence, having them observe flowers and natural flow in nature. Is there anything else that you would add to that particular piece of cultivating fair judgment?
Yeah, something did just come up. It was like, just like when we think about fairness with the child, especially if they say that, like, it's like, that's not fair. And, maybe like mirroring back, like, not fair to who? Not fair to what? It's like, because sometimes too, like, the Libra child might try to people please or come out of themselves and see what's fair. And in doing that, it actually creates like this extreme polarization, because like, that's not fair. And they're like looking outwards. It's like, well, are you being fair to yourself by even like coming out of yourself so far as to say that this isn't fair? Like, is it fair to you? Is it fair to me? Just like looking at that and asking that question can just give an orientation towards, like I was saying with the Gemini piece, like thinking about like how to think, not what to think, in as far as fair goes, so that's important point too as well. And extremes, something about extremes, when Libra, it's like, we say it's about harmony, and since it is about harmony and balance, then inherently the way that we learn harmony and balance is by seeing like extremes. So also when working with a Libra child, in attuning to them and in being in relationship with them, like knowing that might be their mode of operation. They might go all the way over here and then they might go all the way over there. Totally fine. There's zero problems with that. It can be problematic sometimes, but it's not a problem. And to instill that in them allows them to like accelerate the process. So they do this over here and they're like, no, I don't need to do that. And they do it over here and then they get it right. It's just like that little, the Libra like keyhole, right? It's like the middle way. It teaches them how to attune to the middle way instead of just going back and forth and back and forth. And then it just, sometimes if one doesn't know that they're doing that, then it could become an issue and just be like, oh, I keep doing this. Like, I don't know how to figure it out. It's like, no, you are figuring it out. You do that and then you do this and then you just, bring it to some sense of balance and harmony from within and without. So, yeah.
So I'm hearing a really important piece of just supporting your child, your Libra child, but it seems like maybe all the air signs, and of course, really all of our children, is the communication. But with Libra specifically, a lot of mirroring back and bringing the reassurance back that they can tune into what feels right to them, what feels good, what they want, and kind of helping them be in that balancing act while they're finding their sweet spot. And it might be that they're experiencing extremes while they're trying to figure out that middle way. And that's okay. That's part of the process of figuring out the balancing act.
Indeed. Yeah.
Um, the other thing that you can do to support your Libra child is to help them cultivate their idea of beauty. Do this through communication, do this through exposing them to lots of different art or beauty in nature. And again, asking them questions about how does this feel to you? Does this feel beautiful? Does this feel harmonious? Encouraging them to bring in their natural aesthetic into their space.
Yeah. There's
Um,
this game I used to play with these kids that I worked with. And we would just, it would be like kind of dancing but kind of not. So I would do a movement, and then I would pretty, I wouldn't say I didn't say this back then, but essentially it was like, now, like, how would that look if you made it, like, you know, if you made that beautiful, what would you do with it, right? So like, if I don't know, if I just went like that, like, they might, I'd be like, what would you do to make it beautiful? They might be like, they might do something else, and just like letting them like tune in that way too. That was always fun. I always love playing that game.
I love that. Now, something you may want to be mindful of with Libra, and specifically Libra being ruled by Venus, is your child's tendency to overdo sweets, um, and maybe even just like sweet indulgent experiences in general.
Great point.
And if you're looking at your child's chart, specifically looking to the first house, the sixth house, and the eighth house for significant Libra energy in those houses, then you really know that that's something to be particularly mindful of. And right now, what's happening in the sky to be mindful of with your child is Pluto in Capricorn. And specifically, if there's later placements in Libra, there might be a lot of power dynamics that you're experiencing with your child, or that you're seeing them experiencing in their life that you're just witness to and you're there to support. So noticing where they're feeling empowered, where they're feeling disempowered, um, encouraging them to be their own authority and supporting their ability to assert themselves. And I think having this awareness of this heightened focus on the power dynamics, which are very typical for the parent child relationship, no matter what zodiac sign, can help us just see that this is part of the natural growth and evolution. Is there anything else that I missed that you want to make sure we close on, or do you have any other closing thoughts?
No, that feels pretty fair. Everything feels good.
Does it feel
Yeah,
balanced and beautiful?
I like it. It feels good.
Thank you so much, Cameron. And thank you, everybody, for tuning in. If you found this helpful, please make sure to share it with a friend who may benefit from the show as well. And if you love Cameron's approach to the zodiac signs, we have a whole course on health secrets of the zodiac, where Cameron goes in depth into each of the signs, teaches about their essence, their correspondences in nature, how to best care for them, and so much more. You really get to learn about the archetypes in a whole different way. It's such a rich and an amazing course. I was going to say beautiful because we're so in this Libra energy. It is really beautiful. Um, and also, if you haven't already gotten it, we do have a free PDF download for your guide to your child's moon sign. And you can get that at astrologyhub.com/moon sign for helpful insights on how to uniquely support and nurture your child based on their moon. Oh, for Cameron's course on health secrets of the zodiac, you can get that in our academy. You just go to astrologyhub.com/academy. And you'll find all of our courses there. Next in the series, we're going to keep going with supporting your zodiac sign child. And we're going to be starting with the fire signs and specifically with Aries. And I can't wait. I have an Aries moon, so
Yeah.
I'm going to use that to nurture my inner child.
Love it.
Thank you so much, Cameron. And thank you, everybody. See you soon.